What's up, esports fans? This is ZeeOne with another cast, and this is game number 5 between adelscott and lastshadow, and this time on Delta Quadrant. And this, of course, is the Nvidia GosuCup semi-finals. So everything's on the line when it comes down to this 5th game. Let's see what goes on. We've seen some early pushes from lastshadow with some Marines, Marauders, and SCVs, and that really worked out for him against adelscott on Steps of War. So we might see some of that again. Adelscott, on the other hand, has opted for fairly standard openings, going a 1-gate robo, 2-gate robo, that kind of thing, and we might see some of that similar play, or might throw in a different strategy in the mix over here. Of course, this map a big favorite for the 4-gate, given that the distance is quite large between all the bases, and you can pull off nice little proxy pylons all over the show over here, and really jump some units across there. And adelscott just going off about his probes that died so fast to the Marines and Marauders in the last game, and I think that's what lost his game on Blistering Sands, was just that silly little move. Maybe he had it in his head, and that really wasn't working out. But lastshadow, on the other hand, he managed to just scrape off that win in Blistering Sands, as it makes it apparent to adelscott. But nevertheless, let's see what goes on over here. It looks like we've got a gateway from adelscott. No crazy proxies just yet. Looks like lastshadow is the first one to scout out this position over here. He's not going to see anything, so he's going to be moving across to the next one. We haven't seen any base floating going from lastshadow as he did on Metalopolis, so none of that in this game. But here he is just throwing up Iraq's fairly standard opening here. There's a refinery down, and going to get things underway for adelscott over here. Looks like he's been throwing up that gas now. Probably going to be throwing down a cybernetics core in a few seconds. He's not opting for any kind of early zealot push, because then he wouldn't have gotten that there gas. He would have thrown on another gateway or the like. But let's see what goes on. A lot of more probes coming out. Looks like the zealot's about to pop out and do some damage. Let's see what it can do. First Marine coming out for lastshadow now, and that's obviously going to tackle any kind of scouting probe that might come his way. So adelscott actually very late with a scout here, and on a map like this that's so large and 4 possible spawns, you really want to get a scout out sooner than this. And that's exactly what lastshadow did, and that's why he's all the way up in adelscott's grill right now, scouting him out. Looks like he's going to be working on these destructible debris right away and looking to expand at this particular point. Of course, this map not optimal for an expansion at this natural, given the cliff that's over here, and Terran can really abuse that with some medvacs and tanks, stuff like that. Let's see what goes on. But there's a stalker coming out from adelscott now. As I mentioned, that cybernetics core out early, and looks like he's going to be popping out some warp gate tech there. Looks like I don't see a robotics facility just yet, and adelscott might be holding out for a 4-gate or something like that. Looks like he's still scouting out with this probe, and he's going to be moving it over there. Let's see what he does with that. Looks like we've got a factory going down for lastshadow, sort of in the middle of nowhere next to these destructible debris. Let's see what he can do with that. Probably going to be throwing out a couple of Helions and making a push with the Helions and Marauders, some Marines, and probably some SCVs nice and early. Keep the pressure on. Seen lastshadow likes early pressure, so he might be doing that again. But for now, all we're going to see is a second racks after this factory, and nothing out of the factory just yet. SCV just taking a little bit of a holiday and catching some of the scenery, some of the wildlife, and taking all of that in. But it looks like we've got 2 zealots marching out of adelscott's base now. He's going to try to take this position here at the Zalnaga and sort of assert his dominance on this map. But let's see. Looks like well, lasshadow's got some alternate plans, and he's going to be pushing through with these 3 Marauders and an SCV, and it looks like it's going to be a Helion or 2 as well, so he's going to be moving forward with that, 2 SCVs in the fray, and let's see what happens. Looks like he's just waypointing more and more Marauders to the base of adelscott. And it looks like he has got that concussive shell research down, so that's going to help out as he starts taking down adelscott's zealot over here. He takes out 1, but looks like adelscott all this time has managed to summon up another 3 warp gates, so we are looking at a 4-gate from adelscott. Going to be converting that into a warp gate pretty soon, and more than likely that too. There we go. All become warp gates as this little fight goes on, but it looks like adelscott going to be the victor here, and lastshadow just scraping together what few kills he still can. But of course that 4-gate is just going to really thwart his attempt to attack him. So as I mentioned, this 4-gate very popular on this map. So we're going to see some of that going on. Looks like he's got this pylon very neatly placed over here. He's going to be looking to place another pylon over there. But if I look at from from Marcoon's point of view, he has in fact got sight of that, so that's not going to be optimal for him right now. And maybe he wants to think about that. Looks like he's going to be moving his SCVs to try to take out that pylon in time, and drawing in a marine at the same time. He's got no other forces to help deal with this. 4 Stalkers going to make their way through to lasshadow's base, and he's going to have to put up that supply depot. Looks like that pylon does get taken out, but this is the pylon that's going to prove to be the problem. It's of course just got a little room to port units in. Let's see what goes on. It looks like these Stalkers are making a bit of a harass at the front of the base here, maybe keeping lastshadow just distracted at the front as he gathers his force in the back over here. He should have scouted it out with his Helion there and checked out that pylon. This is an important part to place to scout when facing off against a Protoss player in any matchup. But looks like he might be able to deal with his forces. SCV is tanking well, but they're going down so quickly to those Zealots, and those Marauders do not have much left in them. Looks like they're going to get focused down by those Stalkers. There we go, the Marauders do go down. He brings in more SCVs to help deal with this fight, but it's not going to help out those Stalkers. Really just going to focus fire down all those SCVs, and 2 Marauders and a Marine aren't going to help out against this 4-gate that just keeps spilling into his base. And there's the GG from lastshadow. adelscott moves through to the finals.